Welcome back to the Gemara in Bava Kama, Daf Pei Dalet Amud Aleph. This video will take you through two more answers in the Gemara to the question of Amai, as well as a point that Rashi raises. Debei Rabbi Chia Tana. It was taught in the house of Rabbi Chia. Tana is an introduction usually to a short breita. Amar Kra. The pasuk says, Yad biyad, davar hanitan miyad liyad. So the pasuk says the words yad biyad, and this refers to something which is handed from hand to hand, or something which is given from hand to hand. So I'm going to put this in green because it's an answer. It's an answer to the question of Amai. And I'm putting this in yellow because it's the pasuk. So Rabbi Chia says that the fact that the pasuk says yad biyad means that we're talking about Zavar Hanitan Miyad Liyad. And if you look up this pasuk in Dvarim Yutet, you'll see that the context here is actually not our Ayin Tachat Ayin context. It's actually a discussion of Edom Zomamin, of witnesses who testify falsely. They say that they saw somebody do something in a certain time at a certain place, and then another set of witnesses comes and says, no, those witnesses must not be telling the truth because at the time when they claimed to have witnessed the crime, they were actually with us. So this refers to the punishment for them, which is that they get the punishment that they would have inflicted on the accused had the accused been convicted on the basis of their testimony. And so they get exactly what they would have inflicted, hand for hand, etc. So this is yad biyad, which sounds also like ayin tachat ayin and all those similar phrases that we've seen. And Rabbi Chia interprets that as something which can be handed from hand to hand. Umay nihu, asks the Gemara, what is that thing which can be handed from hand to hand? Mammon. The answer is mammon. It's money. So this is a question, really a clarifying question, and this is the answer, mammon, and that completes the argument that Rabbi Chia is making. Although this part again is the Gemara, the Ma'inihu mammon is the Gemara, the previous piece is the Breita. Ela me'ata, regel beregel nami hachihu. Rather from here, or but from here, regel beregel, the continuation of that pasuk which says foot for foot, nami hachihu, also this should be, or should also be this way. In other words, this is a challenge, asking if you think that yad biyad shouldn't be taken literally, but rather should mean something which is handed from hand to hand, does that mean that you're going to say that regel beregel is something that's passed from foot to foot, right? What are you going to do with that phrase? Amrei debei Rabbi Chia. The house of Rabbi Chia would respond. Again, Rabbi Chia is a Tana. This is a conversation that's happening in the Gemara, so he can't respond directly. But the Gemara is saying that the response of Rabbi Chia would be Kraya Tera Kadarshi. They are explaining, they are creating Midrash Halacha on an extra verse or on extra words in the verse. This is the Midrash Halacha technique, Kraya Tera, and that's what's happening here. Mikte Ktiv. Since it already says in Dvarim Yutet, so a few psukim earlier, that you should do to the witnesses what they were planning to do to their fellow, to the person who stood accused, that you should do to them exactly what they were plotting to do to the other person. Since it already says that, if you were to think this was a reference to mamash, to actually doing something physically, yad biyad lamali, then why would I need the words yad biyad? In other words, if yad biyad means something physical, and we've already learned the asitem lo ka'asher zamam, which means you have to do to the person what they were going to do. Sorry, this is actually part of the answer. So you wouldn't need that repetition. You wouldn't need yad biyad as well as vasitem lo ka'asher zamam because it means the same thing. Actually, maybe instead of saying this as part of the answer, maybe I'll put this as the support for the answer. Shma mina mammon. We learn from here, mammon. This is how this Midrash Halacha piece is working. because yad biyad would be extra, since we already had v'asitem lo kasher zamam, that kriyatera teaches you that actually we're talking about money. Regel b'regel lamali. But then we go back to this challenge again. It still doesn't explain lamali, why do I need the words regel b'regel? If you want to say that yad biyad is redundant, and so it means money, okay, so regel b'regel is also redundant. It means the same thing as v'asitem lo kasher zamam, but we don't think it means money. Idi de kativ yad biyad, katav nami, regel b'regel. Since it wrote yad biyad, since the pasuk said yad biyad, it also says regel b'regel. In other words, this is merely a literary device, just the way that the Torah speaks. It's not meant to be taken. This pasuk is not meant to be, or these words in the pasuk, we're not meant to learn anything in particular, anything new from those words, which is an important note about the way Midrash Halacha works. Not everybody who engages in Midrash Halacha thinks that every word has to have some halachic significance. There are rules of the game, and one of the rules is if you have something that's clearly extra, then sometimes you learn from it. But not everything that seems extra actually is necessarily extraneous, such that you learn a halacha from it. Okay. That's one answer. We'll go on to the next one. Abaye Omer, Aichemi Detani de Bechizkiah. Detani de Bechizkiah. So Abaye says, we'll bring an answer from that which was taught in the house of Chizkiah, as it was taught in the house of Chizkiah. So again, we have the word Tana. This is a short breita. Abaye is an Amora, but he's introducing a short breita. Ayin tachat ayin, nefesh tachat nefesh, v'lo nefesh v'ayin tachat ayin. The psukim say, an eye for an eye and a life for a life, and not a life and an eye for an eye. In other words, if someone pokes out your eye, okay, poke out their eye. Someone takes your life, okay, their life gets taken. But you are not allowed to take a life and an eye in response to an eye being poked out. This is the answer that Abaye brings to the question of Amai. Let's figure out how this is an answer. The Gemara explains, the isal kedaytcha mamash, and if you were to think mamash, if you were to think that ayin tachat ayin meant literally poking out somebody's eye in retaliation, zimnin de mishkachat laha ayin v'nefesh tachat ayin. There are times when you will find it to be an eye and a life for an eye. De behadi da'avir le nafka le nishmateh, because at the same time as you blind the person, literally their soul will leave them. They will die. In other words, if you were to try to do an eye for an eye literally, probably sometimes it wouldn't work out because you'd poke out the other person's eye and they might die as a result. They might get some kind of secondary infection. This is probably especially true in the time of the Gemara when antibiotics did not exist, and you could easily die as a result of having your eye poked out. So then you would wind up not doing mamash. You would wind up taking an eye and a life in response to an eye. And that risk alone is enough to let us know that ayin tachat ayin cannot possibly mean mamash. That's how the Gemara explains the house of Rabbi Chizkiah's answer. Umay kushya. And what's the problem? Okay, so sometimes that happens. What's the problem? Dilma me'madam dinan lai. Maybe we assess the person, we evaluate the person. Imati mekabel abdinan. If they are able to accept it, if they're able to get the punishment, then we do it. We have doctors check them out and see, right, this person is or is not strong enough to withstand this kind of physical punishment. V'ilo mati mekabel lo avdinan. And if the doctor says, no, this person is not strong enough to withstand this kind of punishment, then we don't do it. Right? If the doctor says they might die, then we just don't do it. V'iyamdinan demati makabel, ve'avdinan be, ve'nafak ruche. And if, God forbid, the doctor assesses them and they see that they're capable of withstanding the punishment of having their eye poked out, and we do that, we do it to them, ve'nafak ruche, and unfortunately they actually die. Ima is lemut. If they die, okay, they die. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that's a consequence. Milotnan gabe malkot. Didn't we learn, ha'im lo shaninu, didn't we learn in a Mishnah regarding malkot, regarding the lashes that people get for punishments? Amduhu vamet tachat yado patur. If you assess the person, again, you assess them to see if they're strong enough to withstand lashes, and they die while you're doing the lashes, under your hand literally, then you are exempt. You are not considered a murderer. That's just the way it is. In other words, it's not a good proof to say that they might die. That doesn't prove that it can't be mamash. It could be that we say, okay, it's mamash, and the fact that they might die when you poke out their eye is a risk that we're willing to take. And we know this. This is the support for the challenge. We know this because we do the same thing with malkot. We say that someone who's going to get lashes, we don't want them to die, we just want them to get lashes, but we assess their physical state. And if it turns out that they seem strong enough to get the lashes, we give them the lashes. And if it turns out not to work out and they die, okay, that's unfortunate, but it doesn't mean that we don't do the punishment, and it doesn't mean that we hold the person who gave the lashes guilty. So that answer gets rejected. It's not strong enough to withstand this challenge and the support for the challenge. Just to pick up on one point here, I'm going to go in backwards order. Rashi on Yad B'Yad points out this idea of Edim Zomamin. That Yad B'Yad, this pasuk, is Gabe Ed Zomem. It's about a lying, scheming witness. Ktiv, right? That's who it's written about. V'ashmu'in di'im he'id b'ish ploni shekitzai yad chaviro mishalem mamon hanitan miyad liyad. And it's telling us that in the case of a witness who testifies about somebody, that they cut off somebody's hand, and they're found to be, again, they're lying, they're scheming, they're trying to get that guy punished, their punishment will be that they have to pay, not that they actually have to get their hand chopped off, because the asita moka asher zamam is considered to be not physical, is considered also to be mamon, same as ayin tachat ayin. And this idea of Edim Zomamin came up also in the previous answer to the question of Amai, and the Rashi there, talking about Ma'av Dinan, like, we won't read it inside, but he just points out that actually in halacha, testimony is not kosher unless it is possible to falsify that testimony. In other words, every witness, every kosher witness, has the potential to be an ed zomem, because to be a kosher witness, you have to say, I was here at that time and at that place, and I saw this happen. And the way that you create an ed zomem, the way that you establish someone as Edim Zomamin, is that you go in and say, actually, that person could not have been there at that time because they were with me someplace else at that time. So Edim Zomamin is a core halacha for halachic testimony. And again, Rashi on our section just points out that the penalty there is that they get what the person that they testified against would have gotten had they been convicted, but it's monetary. It's not going to be physical. We'll stop there.